But
Rahubat Jamal.
I would like to ask about the changes in the human resonance and how that is affecting our being and our DNA.
When you say changes, where did you come across these changes?
So online there's a lot of different sites that you can see the changes in the human resonance.
Okay.
Um,
Those are
and
not our sites, though, are they?
no.
Right. So again, when people go online, because obviously the internet is full of a lot of information, and we're not responsible for other people are saying or putting out there. A lot of people come to us to ask us about things other people are saying, and it's only fair that you ask them, because we defend and clarify anything we teach. You see, so I mean, we can answer the question in terms of a lot of people know now that vibrations and frequency is really what most things are about, because you're dealing with energy. And the planet Earth is alive and it also has a frequency. Yeah. And each race on the planet has their own vibration. So as Negroids or Nagaru or Nagaranadu, we have a particular vibration and a frequency, and we have our own tones. And so other races also have theirs, but our tones are FAC, okay? And F, so let's start with the A, because the A is the tone of your body, you see? So some people are out of tune. It's like a musical instrument, you know. If you play it, it can go out of tune, right? So sometimes you have to tune yourself, and you do that by the things you do, or like, yeah, the vibration. So then you have the F, which is dealing with nature. So nature naturally vibrates on that frequency. Anything that's healthy and green and so forth. So when we say nature, that would obviously include the planet Earth and anything around that's dealing with natural nature. And then the C deals with the cosmos. So the cosmos, when we say that, we're talking about the multiverse, the omniverse. So you're dealing with different vibrations that start from yourself and the planet and outside the planet. So you've got to be in tune and align with those. So when you're saying the human resident, that is the vibration of the earth that its natural vibration should be on. But they're doing things to speed up the earth. When I say speed it up, if you, okay, look at like when you're boiling water, right? Water is at a particular temperature, and then when you apply heat to it, and it gets to a point where the molecules start to vibrate because you're now heating them up. So it starts to shake. And if you had, like, say, water in a pot or something, you see the pot actually starts to shake. It's the same on the planet. The planet starts to shake, or it gets out of balance if the the chaos on the planet is generating that negative energy. And when people are also building, they're building, say, the West was quite greedy in terms of the way they think is capitalism, right? Which is literally, as long as we've got, it doesn't matter about everybody else. So they were building a lot of skyscrapers and all these types of building on the planet, which was putting a lot of weight on one side of the planet, you see. And that's dangerous because there's something called entropy. You can Google, most of what we say, like, you can actually Google, sorry, entropy, or entropy, if I'm spelling it right. Yeah, so if you look at, if you search Google, anyway, you can do this. So it says that entropy is a scientific concept most commonly associated with states of disorder, right? Randomness or uncertainty. The term and the concept are used in diverse fields. But what I'm basically trying to explain by that is that when there's too much negativity on the planet, it affects the balance of it. And so what we have to do to counteract that is to generate the counter to chaos, which is to bring about the balance. But it starts off with yourself, because you also are an electromagnetic semiconductor. So you're constantly receiving energy waves, all types of frequencies, and it will affect you. So from the colors that you see, the colors you wear, the fabrics you wear, the sounds you hear, the light, everything will affect us, especially because as 9 ether beings, we absorb everything. Yeah, because obviously dark will absorb and white reflects. So yeah, so they've basically sped things up on the planet. Everyone is moving so quickly. So they've sped music up. And music is creating a lot of noise on the planet. If you just stop for a minute and think, right now, someone is playing music somewhere in their cars, in their houses, in parties. It's constant, and that's globally. So if there's a lot of negative music, the noise for all the music is affecting the planet. Then you look at the wars, then you look at the arguments and the tones that people are. So it's about, yeah, fast food. Everything's so fast. Like you drive through to get food when food is supposed to be nutritional, and made with care, made with love. So everyone's just like, they call it a rat race. Everyone's just running around like headless chickens. And if you go to other places, like if you go to Jamaica or go to Africa or go to like America in the South, you literally feel like you're in a different world, because everything is just slowed down. Everyone's just calm and the sun is relaxed and you're just calm. So yes, you've asked a great question. And the master was explaining to us that even the musical instruments, they've tuned, like the note A and the note which they use as middle C, instead of it, like you're saying, being on a more relaxed 432 hertz, they've moved it to 440 hertz, which just speeds everything up. And if you think about going to, I don't even want to call it whatever terms you use now when you go to parties, because the word party means to part, but you're promoting being apart, yeah. But then you go to a club. What's a club? A club is something you use to hit somebody over the head with. So when you start to look at, they put you in a building with big speakers, and they call it, even if you go to the cinema now, like surround sound. And they're just bombarding you from all angles with these frequencies that can be harmful. And your brain is literally like how when you put meat in the microwave, and then the frequencies, which is actually really dangerous, because you're dealing with radiation, that those rays, they then heat up whatever you've put in there and cook it and kill everything in it. And because the heat makes the molecules vibrate in the meat or whatever you're cooking. It's the same thing you're doing with your brain. You're literally cooking your brain when you're listening to, and then some people now, they have headphones on all day, even if it's the little ones, like the Bluetooth stuff. So when you start to look at the bigger picture, it's like the vibration of the planet. I see you, Bree. I know you got your hand up. Yeah, it's about tuning yourself back into the right vibration and the right frequency, so that you're moving and operating away from the chaos. Yeah, so a lot of people are now talking about, tuning back down to the human resonance, or to the planet itself is actually evolving to heal itself, and by getting rid of yeah. So this is the Man from Planet Risk book, where the master is explaining about how, with you having headphones between your brain inside your head with the two kind of like speakers on each side, how it affects you. So I'm going to read from page 74 of Man from Planet Risk. A microwave oven also works off of sounds and has an electronic tube called a magnetron that produces the microwaves. It actually cooks by sending short radio waves through a metal tube to a metal blade called the stirrer. The stirrer scatters the microwaves, causing them to bounce off the cement like the coated walls within the microwave. These cement-like walls are good conductors of heat. The microwaves then start to seek out an object. In fact, sound waves go into the food and oscillate to swing, to move to and fro, causing the molecules to vibrate in the food. The friction among the molecules inside of the food causes heat, and the food is cooked. How long does it take to make a pot of roast in a regular oven? About 7 to 8 hours, right? Well, in a microwave oven, it would only take you about 1 hour. And then it goes on. If sound creates heat and sound waves get into the cells of the meat, which you are, and cooks them, then the same thing is done with music when you put a pair of headphones on and the vibrations are sped up. This causes damage and cooks your brain cells. So the louder the music, the more damage you are doing. This is not exclusive to hip hop. All music, including classical, does damage because of the fact that it is in the wrong tone. And the music changes. Slowly but surely, music is destroying human beings. Let me carry on a little bit more. How is this being done? This is being done by malevolent, disagreeable beings who telepathically influence the minds of the composers, who put money and wealth in front of what was once the natural sound of the universe. What human beings are supposed to be vibrating on is at middle C. Disturbing the vibration has caused the insanity that plagues the world today, that will further lead humans down on the path to destruction. They took an altered sound, changed music from primitive sound up to A in the 5th octave. They took drums and put them in A in the 5th octave. A was a part of the 4th octave, which is middle C. It had the ability musically to move you interdimensionally in the 3rd and 4th dimensions of emotions. Some of these dimensions are telepathically influenced by negative beings who moved you up to the 5th octave because that's where they vibrate. Oh, yeah, I'll stop there, but it's literally explaining to you how bad music is affecting the world and destroying us. Does that answer your question?
Yes and no.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes and no. I was more seeking on, so you kind of said how malevolent beings had brought us from the 4th to the 5th, just now in terms of the different notes.
Mm-hmm.
So malevolent beings have access to higher frequencies in terms of, so from my understanding, it's the higher you vibrate at frequency, the higher you become in terms of your elevation of consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
But what you kind of say, so if the stream of resonance is going up, it's getting faster, that can be a negative thing or a thing that's necessarily downgrading us or making us less healthy in a way.
All right, so it's not so much that just because you're going high, because high means different things in music, all right? So high in tone or high in frequency, you see what I'm saying? It's different, because when you're going high on the keyboard, you're going that way. So you got the middle, and then you've got the lower octaves, which is low, as in low in tone, yeah? And then you got high, as in high in vibration. So it's not so much the higher, it's more about the tone or the quality of the tone. So a guitar that squeaks, you know, like in rock music and in that type of like heavy metal music, that squeaking is a high vibration, but it's not a good vibration. It's not a good tone for you. But for those beings who vibrate on that, that's for them. That's why, like I said, if you were to go into, like, let's say, what people call raves, right? You might go into like, there are 3 or 4 different rooms. One room might be playing what we call lovers rock, and the vibration in that room is going to be different. You go into another room where they're playing hip hop, that's going to be different. You know, you go into another room where they're playing grime, it's different, and the people will move and act differently based on the vibration, and the atmosphere is different because, like, you know, music, lighting, colors, sound, they all interchange with each other. So there are and then of course the lyrics as well, because like, you know, now the whole music industry has been exposed for a lot of the demonic things they do, and they put messages, subliminal messages in the music which affect you without you even knowing it. It's like the people that know how to use these tools, it's like even when you're watching what they used to call, it used to be called cinema, but now they call it movies, because sin actually tells you that they're doing things that are making you sin. And what they used to do, knowing like when you know about how frames work on a movie, is lots of pictures, but then they are at a particular frame. And in between those frames where you can't see, they will put images but your subconscious will recognize those, even though you don't notice it. So they will program people to be like, you're watching a movie, and back then you have breaks, you go out, and all of a sudden everyone's going to buy Coke or buy popcorn. And that's because the subliminal messages in terms of the marketing and advertising has been put in between the frames when it was like 25 frames per second. So yeah, it is a very important thing to be aware of in terms of what you expose yourself to. And then all natural instruments have been taken away. So most music you listen to is electronic now. In fact, they even got rid of vinyl, because vinyl will have an effect on your melanin. So they made it all digital. And digital is stripping out certain tones, because what it is samples, but the samples will miss out a lot of information in that tone. So now children have grown up, they don't even know what real music sounds like. And it's all streaming. So you're constantly streaming from the internet. So like, whereas before you'd get a natural, not even that, because that's got metal strings, like an acoustic guitar. And like bands would play and they would have a vibration because they all putting their soul into the music. That's why it was called soul music. Yeah, and R&B, rhythm and blues, you know, so that's been taken away from the music now. And a lot of what you're hearing, you can't even, most of the time, hear what they're even saying. You know, the whole music industry has changed. But yeah, so it's about, yes, in terms of high vibrations, doesn't mean high pitched. You follow the difference? Yeah. So yeah, the higher you vibrate means that you're able to access those higher realms and receive information. All right. Bree, you've had your hand up for a very long time, so please go ahead, unmute your mic and ask your question.
Rahul Moisa.
Rahubat.
My question is on the scroll I found on are there UFO extraterrestrial in your midst? I have the scroll right here. And on page number 73, I was reading regarding the Dogon tribe. And some of them are mixed with the reptilians, and some of them mixed with the Riskians. So my question is, okay, do they know that they are mixed with different extraterrestrials? And also, I mean, I know that Dogon tribe is an umbrella, is a big tribe. So would they know, like those that are mixed with those that are mixed with reptilians, would they know that they are mixed with reptilians? And those that are mixed with the Riskians, would they know that?
All right. Tua. So let's just read it for the benefit of everyone. So it says, which groups, this is on page 73, which group of humans bred with these reptilian humanoids? Answer, the Dogon tribe of Mali, West Africa, have mixed in with these reptilians from Sirius B, the dog star. These reptilians traveled to Earth once their sun or star, Sirius B, collapsed, becoming a very dense star also known as a white dwarf that is very tiny but has a tremendous gravitational pull that affects its companion star, Sirius A, which is a red giant. There are various crossbreeds. Some are amphibious, right? There are some that even mixed in with beings known as the Riskians that stopped off there at Sirius when the Riskians were forced to leave Ilion because of the three suns, Shamash, Apsu, Utu, that exist in their galaxy, were depleting the ozone layer, which protected the planet from the powerful ultraviolet rays. Therefore, they took residence in Orion. All right, so the thing is, when we say reptilians, a lot of people don't, they just think of maybe the beings that are being mainly shown in the media, but we are all reptilians because we have been mixed in terms of the waters. So it's just the same thing with everyone or us on the planet. When you say that, do they know? Most of us don't recognize that we are reptilians, or we've evolved as being part of reptilians, meaning that when you're in the womb of your mother, you go through the 3 gestation periods, right? And you look like, in fact, you start off as a sperm, which looks like a tadpole in water. And then, you evolve to being what looks like a grey in your mother's womb, where you have a big head and big eyes and tiny, small body. And then because you're in water, your skin is actually also grey. And then the mixture between the reptilian and your, what we call the ancestors or the Natharu, the overseers, is why you come out. If you look at yourself, you literally still have the scales. These tiny things you see at the bottom of your fingers, if you were to draw it, just to make it so people can actually see it, if you draw it, for those online, you can't see this, but just imagine I'm drawing my hand, okay? Right, if you think of a reptilian being with a hand, our nails, we cut them, that's why you don't see it like that. But when your nails grow, if you didn't groom yourself, can you guys see it? This is what your hands will look like, and your feet as well. So we are all mixed in as a part of that evolution of being a reptilian or a grey, and then that's where most of the nature that people have, or the disagreeable nature, comes from, by those mixtures of the beings that mixed with the beings on the planet. And this is going back millions of years. So most people on the planet don't recognize that fact, but it's a fact that we have got reptilian. The scientists will tell you have a reptilian brain. And when you look at yourself, what did I do with that? And you look at a sperm, as it starts off, that becomes you. That's your head, your spinal column, your hands, and your legs. But you can still see, sorry for those, you can't see the diagram, but that's that sperm that has grown into you, and that spinal column to your tail, or coccyx for some of the people that sticks out. If you look and do some research on people that are born with that, they have tails. So yeah, we do have that mixture. And the Dogons, they'll tell you that Nomo came, and the Nomos, they came from the waters and came onto land, and they will teach them about where they came from. And the other thing that was mentioned in this quote was talking about the Riskians, who also had to flee when the ozone layer was depleting. And so we are mixed with those beings as our ancestors. If you go back and look at our origin from the ancient Egyptian stories, they tell you that, you know, that we came out of the waters as frogs and snakes, and atum, A-T-U-M, gushes at the water, and we can go into that, the whole thing from Yanun, which is dealing with the waters coming onto land, and so on. So, yeah, it's not a secret. This is one of the things that was hidden, because when people ask, you know, where does disagreeable come from? Like, or what people call bad. It's come from the natures of these reptilian beings. Some of them are tied in, because when you're dealing with the Anunnaki, you've got the draconian and the reptilians of their species. Bree, does that answer your question?
Tua. My last question though will be on page 79 that says that where where the where where did the doggone get their name from? They were named after the these agreeable Anunnaki. So are they having any ties with the disagreeable Anunnaki then as well?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. When we say Anunnaki, there are good or agreeable and disagreeable Anunnaki. Just as on the planet today, we have, people tend to make agreeable and disagreeable into good and bad. It's not necessarily good and bad. It's they're disagreeable. So yeah, if you read that, it says, where did the Dogons get their name from? The Dogons were named after the disagreeable Anunnaki named Dagon, which means a fish, as found in Judges 16:23, 1 Samuel 5:2-5 and 7, and in the First Chronicles 10:10, from the Hebrew root word daog, meaning fish. Yeah, and so, yeah, it's all about mixtures. You know, you have agreeable beings and you have disagreeable beings. And that's why today we have both those natures. And many people, because of religion, they try to pretend or hide the fact that you have a disagreeable nature. And in Christianity, for example, they teach you to be good, to go to heaven, but you can't be good all the time. Nobody can be good all the time. That's why we have 180 degrees of agreeable nature and 180 degrees of disagreeable. What you have to do is use your agreeable nature, which leans more to the Natharu, to overcome your disagreeable nature, which leans more to the reptilians. That's why when you look at the things that people do, the foods you eat, the aggressiveness and the arguments and all these types of things, that's because of the disagreeable reptilian being. That's why they push to eat meat, eat red meat, eat blood meat. That gives you the aggression. You see, when boxers want to fight, they eat a lot of steak. They want to pump up so they can have that aggression. Whereas when you're more like leaning towards the herbivore side of you, where you're more eating life. I mean, we did a fast recently for the people that did it. It just reminds you to have that calm humility, and you get to remember what it's like to have nothing. You see, you're very hungry and you see food and you have the discipline not to eat it. And so it tames your disagreeable side. And the whole point of our doctrine is for you to learn to transform yourself from being a 180 degree disagreeable and 180 agreeable. The agreeable's got to dominate the disagreeable, and then you become 360 agreeable. And then in your next realm, you then do the same thing, because you come across the 360 agreeable or disagreeable. So it's in our nature, but we just have to learn how to suppress and control it. And suppressing it and controlling it doesn't mean that it's not there. It just means, like, if every time I see you agreeable, and every time, and all you ever are is agreeable, Doesn't mean you don't have the disagreeable side, but you know when it's necessary, if you need it, you can then tap on it. But the majority of the time, you'll be like, this guy is always agreeable, and then you know other people that majority of the time they're disagreeable. They're just causing chaos all the time. I see a few people with hands up, so Robert.
Please stop sharing your screen for the
Oh,
videos
sorry.
here.
Yeah, sorry. Thank you.
Zamal, Liz had her hand up for a while, and
Yeah.
Alethea.
Okay, let's go to who was first? Liz? Go
Yeah,
ahead.
Liz.
All right, Liz. You can unmute yourself and ask a question.
Hello, Rahubat, everyone. So
Rahubat.
I really appreciate the explanation about the music. It's so interesting because there's just certain music I cannot listen to. Like I literally need to leave the room. So thank you for that explanation. My question was, so then so what kind of music should we listen to? Like I like classical music a lot. So and you know, to hear you say that not all classical music is, so what kind of music should we listen to so it doesn't interfere with our vibration and our, you know, our energy?
Yeah, I mean, in every music now, you have agreeable and disagreeable music. So there are different classical music that you can listen to. It's the same with jazz. Like there's different types of jazz that you can listen to, and others you can't listen to. The main thing is, if as much as possible, your being will vibrate with it. Like I was saying, if you went into different rooms, there will be rooms that you just can't be in because the vibration is just not going to be conducive for your being. So you're going to leave. The master has asked, like, or given us information about listening to, like, reggae music. Reggae music, because of the drum and the bass, is very in tune with us. But yeah, just natural instruments as well. African music, a lot of the, you know, the drums, the actual, you know, like drums, music with chanting music. We have the, you know, the music we listen to for chanting, the Om, you know, we listen to that visualization. So you have to find what is vibrating on the frequency that you're on. But the thing is, it can change, like your moods also change. But yeah, the main thing is stay away from harsh electronic, synthetic music. But you have to balance it as well. It's also about balance, because you can't go to the extremes of each direction, you know.
Yes. When you say reggae, obviously I'm thinking more along the lines of like old school reggae.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Kotek.
And that here for. Okay, who was next, Basta?
Alethea?
Yes. Robert,
Rahubat.
Chicken and everyone else. I just have a comment. I wanted to say that in medicine, in healthcare, I actually met patients that have a condition where their body produce a lot of scales on a daily basis,
Yep.
like a fish. And I am, based on the information that you have been discussing with the class regarding reptilian creatures, I am looking back at the conditions of those patients, and I'm wondering about the the reptilian state, and if that condition may have anything to do with this state of being reptilian. I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
know how else to put it.
I
But
got you.
they produce daily a lot of scales, a lot.
Yeah, some people are worse than others. Like if we didn't cream our bodies, like they call it ashy, yeah, when your body's dry. You see people with the dry feet. You know the people that don't cream their foot. If you didn't do that for a long period of time, you will see that you would basically be scaly. Some people are worse than others because their DNA ties more to these reptilians. That's why we've been explaining that. I'm going to put a picture up. This is from the Holy Tablets, right? So the original beings that were in the waters of the Meldekians, that's how I'm saying that when we say we've evolved from the waters, you have to remember there were many, many beings in the waters. Sirens are still in the waters and they got the scale. This is why a lot of people can relate to, I'm also trying to find something else to show you. But really, these different extraterrestrials, where we explain that the people on the planet, they're related to the different extraterrestrials. So you've got the reptilians, you've got the greys, you've got the Deros. You know, you have the Deros are the obesity looking beings, and you see people on the planet because they've got their DNA and their genetics. And you got hirsutism, which is where people are covered all over their body, their face, everything with hair. That's because they're tied into the what you call Enkiduites or the shaggy beings or the beings from Sirius, which ties into what we were just reading. But if you go to the Holy Tablets, you can see that there were the dinosaur people, right, which is also depicted. Let me see if I can share that. The dinosaur people, right? So a lot of beings evolved from the waters and mixed in with different types of beings. So yeah, some of the beings like you see, like even children, when children are born in the hospital, a lot of the time their bodies, if you look at Nagaru children anyway, they can have like green, they have green patches because, yeah, that's the page I literally just showed. Yeah. Yeah, so you got the ostrich people. The brother was just showing me I literally just showed the same picture. So trying to make it so you can see. There you go. Yeah. So, did you want me to read anything or? Okay, thank you. Yeah. So it's very. This is one of the things the master came on the scene teaching us that we are all related to extraterrestrials, and these extraterrestrials are related to, even though you might think they look hideous or they don't look like good to you, they look at you the same way. They look at you like you're very not nice looking. I have to choose my words carefully. But yeah, so the Adamites, they related to the Pleiadians. They got their DNA, their genetics. But then you also have those who mix with animals, or the Homo porcine, the Homo canine, the what's the other one? I missed out. Students that are studying. You guys are not studying. There you go. Thank you, simians. Yeah. So yeah, that comes out it will come out in the DNA. Even the coxes that you see. Let me see if I can find. Yeah, I know, but Google's quicker. Actually, yeah, we need the electronic version of the Holy Tablets. To be honest, I can't remember how to spell it. It's COC.
COCCYX.
That's right, COCCYX. Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Foxes.
Let me show you. And most of this is in our books. Children are born. Anyone who works in the medical field. There you go. Like, let me share my screen quickly. Anyone who works in the medical field will tell you, like, this is again something that is suppressed, but people that work in the medical field, they will know, they will see it. Here we go. because of the DNA and the traits of these mixing. There you go. See, can you see this? But I mean, you have to do your research, like we say with everything else. There are people who it comes out it's like a tell, basically, from.
Isn't that what they said about Africans? There was in the 60s, people used to say that Africans had tails.
Yeah, but again, when you start to do the research now, you find out that it wasn't us. It's the Neanderthals and the Cro-Magnons that had that. And you find it in the evidence that's available now. But it's no coincidence. This is why we say that you have an animal nature, and you have, for lack of a better word, a godly nature. We know that's our ancestors' nature. And you have people on the planet that are more disagreeable, and they do that in their actions and in their works. And then you have those who are more peaceful and calm. And that goes into the whole biblical stories with the Genesis 6:4, where these Nephilims came down and mixed with the daughters of men and mixed with our ancestors, the Pataites, and produced all these different types of natures on the planet. Because before that, it was a peaceful planet. There was no chaos. So yeah, but you have to tame that animal. You have to get rid of all or suppress it. It's a more better description.
Okay.
All right.
Well, thank you so much for answering the question, addressing
You're
the
welcome.
last response, all the questions, and
No
thank
problem.
you.
All right. Yeah, so go ahead, Zamal.
You mentioned about amphibians.
Yeah.
How can I connect that to what I've heard regarding the expression waters of Nun, or
Okay.
Nun or something?
None, yeah. Right. So we keep saying this was a water planet originally. So that means every being was inside the water, living in the waters.
The waters of Nun.
None is the way you describe it, because remember, when you look at that diagram of the sun, okay, so this would be the Nun, yeah, and then the sun supposedly rises, yeah, and it comes out, and then it travels, and then it's at the middle point, and then it goes back down, and then people say the sun is setting, and then it's not gone, but it's just in the shadow state in this stage here, and then it comes out, and we call this Atum. Sorry, I'm writing Atun and Amun, right, which is describing, and then Anun. And when we talk about part of the Bible, Ya Nun, the Nun is the waters, yeah? Come because it's the cycle of life, how we came out from the womb of your mother.
Yes.
If you look at this, it looks like a loaf of bread, or if you were to turn that way, yeah? My drawing is like, that's a woman, yeah? She's pregnant. You see it, right? So you come out of the Nun, or the waters, onto land. Yeah, the same way the sun comes out and then goes back. But this is the cycle of life. So we come out from the womb, come onto land, then we grow, and then we get older, then we go back to the dust of the ground, and then it's just like a cycle. The woman or women then breathe in the dust through their nose, even though they're tiny particles. Why many women will have sinus problems when they're pregnant, because the dust they're taking in. The dust becomes your physical body that you're calling your body, which is literally bacteria, yeah? Because your essence, the real you, right, which we call our soul, our spirit, that attracts the bacteria when you're in your mother's womb, as she breathes in the dust particles, and that becomes part of your limbs that surrounds that soul, and then you grow legs and you grow arms and your brain, etc., and then you come out, and now you forget that you're pure energy being. People say a light being, but light is just a part of that being. So then you forget your divine purpose or who you really are, until you kind of like And then obviously the system you're born into, they already have a planned kind of like strategy to keep you from waking up or knowing who you really are, because they want you to recycle, because they benefit from your energy. And we are trying to escape the recycling and move up and not to come back. And the way you do that is to remember who you are and to start living based on your divine purpose. That's what Partner Babylon is here. So we all here have a divine purpose collectively as well as individually. And the whole kind of like six ether system is designed to stop you from knowing that and becoming that. Go ahead.
As part of the six ether system, I was wondering, what's been troubling me during the week is the words casteism and racism and classism. Are they part of the six ether system?
Absolutely. Because the word cast is the way they cast spells. That's why they choose, when they make movies in Hollywood, the wood that you're calling Hollywood is the wood that Merlin, the magician, uses to cast spells. So when they're going to start a movie, what do? They get a group of people.
As the cast, yeah.
Yeah. And they give them roles to play, to cast a spell.
Right.
And what was the other one you said? Racism.
Caste and racism, yeah.
Racism is also a construct, because when you hear the word race, what does it sound like? You're running a race, right? Now, if we're running a race and it's a fair race, then you don't tie someone's legs or trip them up, so you can win. That's what racism has done. It's been designed to divide people and to compete. But no one wins the race in racism, as we say. So racism is a disease. It's one of those tools that is used to disenfranchise people and, like you say, compete against each other. And it's gone from not only racism, but there's colorism. There's all kinds of isms. Any word you have an ism at the end of it is division. That's why the master teacher put out these books. Christism.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, the isms and schisms. Mohammedism, because the isms. I see you, sis. Can you get the mic and someone pass the mic to the sister, please, if it can reach. If not, you might have to move forward.
Greetings, everybody.
Greetings. Welcome.
I just wanted to know, I'm just going to change the subject a little bit.
It's okay. It's a Q&A. You can ask any question.
No, I just wanted to know about cryptocurrency, innit? I just
Go on.
wanted to know what Reptilian brought that into play, basically.
Okay,
Yeah,
sorry.
just-
It's
yeah,
the
I
way you
just
said what reptilian, like.
No, but you know, like there's, as you were explaining, there's different groups of, like, reptilians, basically.
Yeah, but-
So I just wanted to know who brought that into place. And
Okay.
why is it on the planet, basically?
Yeah.
Even though it's not tangible, but you still can gain something from it.
Okay.
So I just wanted to
Okay,
have that awareness, basically.
Cryptocurrency is a technology,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
First of all. So technology is not necessarily a bad thing. Like all technologies, we're using technology right now. The smartphones, laptops, we're on the internet. So we're using it in a positive way. So it's not the technology that is bad, it's what you do with it. Yeah. So cryptocurrency is not, even though it's been introduced by extraterrestrial, and like AI also has been introduced by extraterrestrials to control the world. But the thing is, there are different types of extraterrestrials. Our ancestors use technology. You cannot travel intergalactically and like do the things we do without technology. But like in the Black Panther movie, they showed you how technology was being used in Wakanda, which was really, it was our story if you study it properly. They even had our script in the movie, like an Wapic script. Yeah, go and read it, go and watch it again. So when you look at cryptocurrency, the first thing is like, if you don't have an IT background, it might be a bit difficult, but cryptography is a part of computer science where information's being sent and received with encryption, right? So that I can send a message to someone and they won't be able to know what it is unless you have the means to decipher it. Currency is just, when you hear the word currency, it's energy flow, yeah? So you're actually using the fiat currency at the moment, paper money, which is worthless, right? And there are many problems with having paper money. So cryptocurrency was a technology that has actually made life easier for everyone because you can now be your own bank, right? Whereas before cryptocurrency, the major banks, or what you would call like the Federal Reserve. I'm not going to go, it's a deep subject, but I'm going to touch the Federal Reserve, or like the Bank of England, the people that print money. It was an evolution of how we use a form of exchange, meaning like you had goods, I had goods, I might want what you have, or you might want what I have, and we went through like the bartering system, and like, but then there were many problems with that because, like for example, to transport and so when they were looking at how to make life easier for everyone, because a banking system that was centralized meant that they control who got money, they controlled who would get a loan, they controlled, you know what I mean? And then the racism that we spoke about before was applied in the sense that some people wouldn't be able to go and get a loan for a business. Some people won't be able to get credit. Like, so all that was implemented, but we went from the bartering system to what they call the gold standard, right? Which meant that gold was valuable back then and everything was based on gold. But these rich families, you know, like the Rothschilds and I can't remember most of them, but Goldberg. The Goldberg is actually an organization, a meeting, where they meet, the Bilderbergers. Yeah. So anyway, these 12 or so rich families, they decided to take away the gold and replace it with a fiat system, which is a promissory note, which basically means that it's just a piece of paper that you promise to pay somebody. Like, that's why if you read the money, it says, I promise to pay the bearer the sum of £10 or whatever. I used to do workshops on all this whole cryptocurrency stuff because I come from the IT background, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's that you have to know how to use it just like any other technology, because if you don't, you're going to get left behind. And just like mobile phones, I remember people that were like, I'm never going to use a mobile phone because it's devil thing, it's in the system, they watch me. They do. But if you don't have anything to hide, what you need to worry about? And yeah, so it's actually, when you look at the positives of it, it's designed to make everyone who knows about it, how to use it, to be at an advantage. But there's also the negative side where they obviously see central bank digital currencies, right? So obviously the first thing that everyone heard about was like Bitcoin. And Bitcoin was like, I can't go into that, it's just gonna take up too much time. But bits are, obviously in computer terms, you got like bytes and bits. It's just like, you know, zeros and ones, yeah, basically. Computer language, binary code. And so if you think about traditional money right now, if I wanted to send, even now, like literally the banking system, because the centralized banking system was just based on Federal Reserve, Bank of England, who print the money, and they basically then allow banks to borrow or borrow money from them based on your whatever you go and put in the bank to deposit. So for example, you put £1 into the bank, they can borrow £10 against your pound. So they will get money, but then using it to invest and do things, and you don't get anything back for it because the interest rates that you get are ridiculous, right? So you might get 0.03, like 3 pence for your money that's sitting there, but in the meantime, they're making money from it. So cryptocurrency is a good thing if you know what to do with it, and it can actually make more people wealthy than anything else.
Everyone should do it, basically.
Like, I'm not here going to say everyone can do cryptocurrency,
No,
because,
I'm saying
but
everyone should be
they should be knowledgeable about it and know the good or the agreeable things to do with it, as opposed to just like most of the time we just wait around and people capitalize on things. Like there are people who became millionaires, billionaires from Bitcoin, and then now, how much is a Bitcoin worth today? It's yeah. So you can go to like Coin Market Cap. Just quickly check. But yeah, it's about educating and knowing. We study. We are encouraged to study and learn everything, not just like you say. It's a good question, even though you said it's taking the class away. But these are the things we do need to know about, right? So Bitcoin is currently 52, call it 53,000. So it's dropped. But yeah, there's always a disagreeable side to everything and an agreeable side to everything. We take advantage of the agreeable side. Yeah, but it's something you should definitely learn because it's the future of technology. The central bank digital currency, what they're doing is trying to create a centralized system, whereas everything being decentralized means no one is one person controlling everybody and like what you can do and what you can't do. But they're now programming it with CDBC, so they know that money is evolving. The fiat system is literally on its way out, and so they have to get in on it. But they were making it as in terms of Bitcoin and Ethereum and all those other, like the ones that first came out that most people know about. They were saying like, you know, don't get into it because it's terrible. But today, it's become like people have seen that it's lasted and has actually made people more wealthy than anything else.
Yeah, but who invented it though?
They say Satoshi, but they don't really tell you who it is, and people say it's the government. You know, there's all kinds of things that people say about it. But the reality is, does it really matter who invented it?
Yeah, no.
Because it's like, do you care who invented the mobile phone, the iPhone?
No.
But you use it every day. I know what you're saying. You still have to be aware of everything. But, you know, the whole point of the master teacher and what we teach is that we are guided. We're guided so we know when to do things and when not to do things. And there may be a time where you don't need it. But at the moment, you should be getting some.
There's a few questions online.
Sorry, I'll let the sister finish in class and then we'll come to that. Go ahead.
About the digital card. Have you heard about the talk about that? They're talking about that now.
The ID cards.
Yeah, the ID card. How can we get ourselves out of this situation and that situation?
That's why we're here, coming together and building our communities and doing our own thing. That's what we were doing in our land in Tamaray. And the master teacher put out all these, you see all the stuff that's happening today? He was telling us about this years ago. Look, the year 2000 and what to expect. And that, now we're in 2026. Dr. York versus the computer. None of this stuff that you're seeing should faze anyone who's been studying or knows about the master teacher. Now, unfortunately for some people, they waste a lot of their time. We don't have that time. You need to be studying and getting yourself, educated or knowledgeable about what is going on. That's what Wusabat is about. Some people have to catch up. Some people have the luxury of time to study and read, and they don't. I don't even get to study. I don't have a chance anymore. But I did it years ago because obviously I was working with a master teacher, as we're all supposed to. But I'm just saying, some of you have the luxury. I remember he said there's going to come a time you're going to have so many books that you're not going to have enough time to read them. And that's the day and time we're living in, you know. But people do have time and they're not utilizing that time to study, and you should. Don't waste your time. Go ahead, Zama. Oh, sorry, there's a sister online. Go ahead,
Okay.
Basta.
There's a couple of questions. So, Wagwan Tours says, question, can...
You have to put accent on to say that name in it, but go on.
Question, can you tell me what reincarnation is and how long after death this takes place? Do we come back in the same form or different? Do we stay here or do we go to another dimension?
Okay, so it depends. It's different for different people, but the word re, just means to do over, to do again, like redo. Carnation or incarnation is dealing with the word cardinal, which means to come back again in a physical body. Religious people teach it and distort it because they make it sound like you can come back again in the same body, like the same body that you had, which is an impossibility because when you are unalived, your body then rottens and decomposes. So there's no way that body can be brought back to life in that sense. They use things like Lazarus being brought back to life from the from the Bible, but it's not true because they also teach in religion that it's only given to man once to die. So if Lazarus was brought back to life, that means he can't die again. So the reality is we should find him. We should be able to go and find where he is today because he should still be alive. So reincarnation is distorted the way they teach it, but we're talking about you coming back again to complete what you didn't finish the last time. And in Wusabat, we're taught that you have 24 to 24,000 chances to basically master this realm, to leave it and not have to come back. And that depends on how you study and what you elevate to in terms of your real being. So you come back if you've not accomplished your purpose or your mission. And when you're in that state where your body is no longer with you, you go through different stages in different realms. And the first one is when you see the light, or what they call a white light. That white light is a wormhole that brings you right back here again to start your new cycle. And you do come back through your bloodline. Excuse me. And so, what was the second part of the question? So that's reincarnation, but not like you just coming back in the same physical body like other people teach in religion. Zamata, what was the second part of the question? Oh, you said how long it takes. Yeah. So it takes between when you leave this physical skin suit, it takes between 60 to 90 days for you to visit loved ones and go through that process, and then you leave. So that's how long it takes. I can't remember if there was another part to that. If I've missed anything out, can you let me know, please, Basta? We have 2 hands up. Did I answer the question for whoever that was?
The question was from OSM, so you're not going to get a response.
Oh, okay. But did that cover what you read? I can't see. Okay. Right, so we have 3 hands up. I think Chris was first, then Cleopatra, and then Ramesses. Go ahead, Chris. Unmute your mic and ask a question.
Rahubat, everyone.
Rahubat.
I wanted to ask about the 9 different Nagaru species that was talked about in the Telegram the group chat.
Yeah.
Do they only relate to the genetics of the overseers, and if so, which ones? Could you please expand on this topic, please?
Do you know what? I actually don't have. Let me see. Let me see if I've got a scroll that goes into it. I know we've got a few student teachers online. If any, Brother Nee, if you've got that information on you, I can't remember where it's in. It's in intelligent design, I think. I'm trying to find it, but when we say species, it's like. Sorry, someone's got their mic on. Can you mute, please? The simplest way to try and describe it is like that you have cats, but you have different species of cats, right? So you might have a lion, a tiger, a cheetah, a panther. They're all cats, different species of cats, okay? So with Nagaru, because we're 9 ether, there are 9 different species of us. They are listed in one of the scrolls. I don't have the scroll on me. So, like I was saying, if Nee or any other brothers, intelligent design, I think, have a look in there. If we don't have it, do we? Yeah. So the 9 species will relate to. There's a class actually that a brother did online that really explained it. The brother Atun, but I'll have to dig it up. Yeah, so it's related to our natures as well. And it ties into the question a lot of people ask about the 144,000. Because when you look at that number, 144, add it up, it comes to 9. Meaning that there are 9 different natures of Neet or Nagarus. So, like, if this is part of the tribalism as well, and why sometimes we don't all get along, because even though we look the same, if you're from a particular nature or species, you will clash. This is why in Africa, for example, you have different tribes, but even though they're all Nagarus, they don't all get along. And we are descendants of all those 9 species and different tribes, and sometimes our natures will clash because of the different species. So yeah, it's almost like it manifests itself in your nature. Yeah, so the master teacher now is able to, that's why him coming to find 144,000, that number, even though it's also literal, as in the crafts that will pick up those 144,000, or the craft that will pick them up, has everyone's seat that's meant to occupy that seat. But if you don't make it, that seat will be left empty because it's a specific genetic that is required. So think about it. I don't know if anyone here has watched the Netflix series called Salvation, right? In that, it explains about the planet's going to become extinct. They tell you, the Adamites will tell you all the stories of everything that's going on in movies, because it then becomes like entertainment and people don't take it seriously. But if you watch that Salvation, it's a practical thing. And even today, people like, Bill Gates and so on, they try to look at the problems on the planet, and they're like, we're becoming, or a lot of people are becoming useless eaters, meaning they're not producing anything, they're not creative, they just live from basically consuming. You become a consumer. And so they look at it like, if you have too many consumers and no one's producing anything, then they're looking at it like there's too many mouths to feed. Even though the planet... Sorry?
But they created it like that, though.
I know, I'm coming to that. So that's what I was saying earlier on about capitalism and greed and just me, myself and I type of attitude. But I'm just showing you a scenario to kind of answer the question. So if you were to look at it and go, oh, there's too many people on the planet, there's not enough food to feed them, they will be like, okay, we'll get rid of a certain amount. Do you know what I mean? Even though it doesn't make sense, because like you say, it was done purposely because the few want to rule the masses and control everything, the resources, everything. That's why the banking, which you mentioned before, also comes into that, because when you go to the book of Revelations, which they look at as the end time book, they're like, you will not be able to buy or sell unless you have the mark of the beast, right? The mark of the beast, the master broke this down years ago. You look at the Visa, VI6, right? Roman numeral VI, 6, 6. So this is 666. And the whole monetary thing is all about the mark of the beast. So going back to what I was saying before, that salvation, they look at the planet, meteorites coming, this planet is doomed if it hits. So we're going to take the smartest people that we can go somewhere and start over again. So if you're looking at that from a scientific perspective or logically, you're going to be like, okay, let's say there's this room full of people. Who in here has skills that we're going to need? Let's say 10 of you are in here and you've all got the same skill. We don't need all 10 of you. We just need one of you. And then they go through that and be like, okay, we need someone that, you know, engineer, doctor, whatever. And yeah, so the 144,000 are a select genetic pool, because when you start to look at extraterrestrials and our ancestors and survival, it's not based on emotions. It's based on, are you required or are you a useless eater? If you're somebody that is, for example, just, and again, I'm not directing this at anybody particularly. If you're drunk, I see you. I have to finish my point just to answer the question. And you just, you know, lying on the street every day, just getting drunk, and you know, your family, no one really cares about you, then your body organ. Someone can just take you, take your liver, take your lungs, and give it to the rich. I know it sounds cold, but these things happen. So it's extraterrestrials are like, take us to your leader. They want to talk to people in control. They want to talk to people that are intelligent. Yeah, so I'm just saying that to say that the 9 species of the Nagaru are different. Even now, they're doing it with the DNA banks. Right? Everyone's going to put their DNA to try and find out, oh, where do I come from? And then you give them your DNA. They've got DNA banks. They've got blood banks. So the reality of these disagreeable reptilians is becoming a reality with the files that have been released and everything now. They're showing you, like, people are putting out videos. They've been collecting humans for food and eating humans for a very long time. And you don't want to be on that menu. So you have to start upgrading yourself mentally. Where's my thing? Menu. See, it's all phonetics. When you look at the word menu, you don't see that you as you. You don't want to be on the menu. And that's cleaning yourself inside out. That's why I was saying about the fasting that we did recently. Fasting is not just, it is a discipline because it's mental strength. You know, people were doing it in different ways. Like, some were just breaking it when the sun goes down, you know, because it's Ramadan as well at the moment. So you got the Muslims and all that. And then after that, what do? They slaughter a lot of animals. And, you know, the way they do it in religion is completely not healthy for you. But then there are other people that were just doing a water-only fast. That's what I was doing. That means you don't eat at all. You just drink water throughout. And when you go through that exercise, it's very mentally challenging more than anything else. and you cleanse. Your body, you know, rejuvenates your cells, everything. Like you clean yourself inside out. So I'm saying that to say that, yeah, if you want to be one of those that make it, that Master's been telling us, you read every scroll, it tells you the same thing. Clean yourself inside out. And that's mentally, spiritually, physically. I think the sister had, oh wait, let's go to Cleopatra first, and then the sister, and then yourself.
Hold on, Zamal. Sorry, I was trying to find that chapter or verse for you.
Oh, did you find it?
Yeah, it is an intelligent design, divine design.
Okay.
The original 9 species was from Atum
Tua.
to Natat. Hold on a sec. Oh, gosh. So I was trying to do several things.
Yeah, I know. Men can multitask too.
Yeah. Oh gosh, I've gone and lost it now.
All right, do you want to...
Yeah,
when
no, say it.
You got it, okay.
Atum, Tafaf Natat, Shawao, Nutat, Geb, or Sabab, Shashtat, Asar, Nababtat Hatat, and Satak. So they were the sacred 9, the Enneads originated.
Tua.
Oh yes, flesh and blood beings on this planet.
Tua. Tawutat.
Yeah.
Yeah, so those are the 9 that we come from. You got something?
Can you give us a page for that?
Yeah, I know.
Zamal, the page...
It's got page, it doesn't say the page, because I'm not reading from the book. I couldn't get the book in time.
Oh,
But
okay.
it's from verse 549 to 551.
Tawutat. Zamal? Okay, yeah. I think, yeah, leave that. Yeah, I could come back to that if somebody wants to go into it, but... who had the question?
Yeah.
Sorry, what book was that?
Intelligent Design,
Okay.
Plot of Aliens, yeah.
What page is that?
There wasn't a page, but the verse was... Usia, do you want to repeat that one more time,
Tua,
please?
verse 549 to 551.
Okay. Cleopatra, you're next. Cleopatra, coming at ya. I remember that group. Hey, Rahul, I didn't even see you there. Cleopatra, you there?
Greetings, can you hear me?
Now we can. Rahul, greetings.
Robert. So yeah, I'm very curious with the practical elements of like spirituality. From my understanding, I get that, prayer in the traditional sense is futile because, our concept of God through the religious lens is inaccurate. So I kind of wanted to know about like tapping into, I guess, the Akashic records, or is there ways to connect to the galactic family, so to speak, and discovering who that family is, if it's from Orion or Sirius, the star Sirius, or, if it's the Anunnakis, or like where we come from. Like, I guess as a melanated person, I guess I'm automatically in. But I've always wondered, is there...
You're not automatically in.
Say again?
You're not automatically in.
Right. Well, there we go. Because then
Right.
I was like, is there a way to kind of discover a little bit more about, my
absolutely.
lineage or my ancestors, and, like be able to connect to my DNA or through astral travel or deep meditation, which I've experienced.
Got you.
But, I know there's levels, and I guess with what you don't know, you don't know. So...
Tua, let me answer that for you.
Yeah.
You're not going to do it without Wusabat. This is one of the key things we keep saying to everyone. Like, people hear information and they're like, oh, how can I just attach to the Akasha records? You have to start with the basics, right? The basics is studying the scrolls. And that connects you with the representative of our ancestors in the way of Pa Nababyanun, because he's a living deity, he's Pa Naktaru in the flesh, right? And join and be a member of the community. Like, even in the religious books, even though you're saying it's futile, it's not that it's futile, it's that you're communicating. That's what prayer is supposed to be. You're communicating with someone, but in religion you don't know who that is, or it's being, you're being what's the word, distracted, and your energies are being sent to someone else as opposed to, it's like you're sending a message and the message is being intercepted and being given to someone else. So what you have to know is that you have to connect with your ancestors, and in Wu Sabat you get taught who your ancestors are. You see, starting from the very first being that we're connected to, who would be Sakhmet or Sakhamtat, right? This is different tones for the same being, who's the female deity, where we all come from as the single ancestry. They tell you about Lucy and the other findings, but all women, by way of the mitochondrial DNA, they've passed that genetic record from female to female to female from the beginning till now. So when you learn about who you are by way of Wu Sabat, and you start to put the practices of Wu Sabat into action, you connect with your ancestors. Your first connection is your mother or your mother's side. So the first thing you need to learn about how to connect with your mother, so that when you are now praying, what you're calling praying, is communicating with them and they can hear you because they're waiting to receive you. And if you don't have a connection to your mother, then you can go to your grandmother or your great grandmother. So you can even do it on the father's side, but it's just that it's stronger on the mother's side. So these are the basics that people that are coming into Wu Sabat have to learn. You mentioned the Akasha Records. The master has got a scroll called the Akasha Records, which is this one here. All right. So you would need to maybe get hold of that so that you actually learn more about the Akashic or Akasha Records.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did that answer your question?
Yes, that did actually. Thank you very much.
Where are you based, as in location-wise?
I'm Northwest London.
Okay, so we're your nearest, community that
Yeah.
you should frequent and come and be a part and get more involved.
Yeah, because I remember years ago, I used to come to the classes that were in Dalston.
Tour.
And then when everything dispersed and the situation with Dr. York happened, and that was great to see. Obviously, everybody's kind of coming back online, and so it's just been on my mind in terms of like really connecting with that side of things, because I've learned, I read, I study, I meditate, I fast, I do these things, and then you find you can kind of just the wave of life of like this design of the matrix, so to speak, you kind of get moved by that, and I'm like, I don't know if it's part of me just looking or seeking for something deeper. So I guess maybe the next step would be to kind of order that scroll and carry on.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that was done on purpose by the kidnapping of the master teacher and the stealing of our land was to disperse us, because it's about gathering. It's about, when we say together, it's to gather. We need to gather together because we bring our energy together. It's more powerful. And the reason you get scattered about is because the Natharu, when they're looking at us from up above down, from an aerial view, if you imagine, if you've ever been on a plane and you're coming down to land, you look down, you see all the little lights all over the place. Now, if all the lights are in one place, meaning we are all light beings, like we have an aura, and if all of us are in one place, they know where we are. That's where we're going. That's what Tamaray was about as well. And we're going to be rebuilding. We all, need to have the Tamarays all over the world at different places, so we can start to gather, and then obviously by way of the master's guidance, we will know what to do. But communities and coming together, we heal each other. Right? Like when you're in a group, someone might be feeling bad or maybe feeling a little bit, down, and we charge them up. So there are many benefits to us coming together. So that's why we're dispersed all over the place at the moment. But we need to definitely come together. All right.
Okay. And a last question: where are there any shops based on North London?
Not at the moment.
It's just East Croydon, isn't it? It's just Croydon.
Yeah, East or West Croydon. We're not far from either.
Oh, okay.
Last point is the females, the sacred feminine. It's your time. Like you all need to
Yes.
come together because you are so powerful. I see a number of you here and more are coming, but it's really about the feminine coming together because, you know, you are the nurturers, you're the ones, it's your time, obviously.
Yeah.
So the more that you all come together, women keep saying, where are all the female teachers? Where are all the female teachers? And we're like, where are you? Where are you all? You know, so I know it's happening, but it's not by our design, you know, it's by the sisters coming together and yeah, it's happening and the more of you gather, the better. I saw somebody else's hand up, so Ty will tap for that.
Oh, thank you.
Untap that for.
Can you hear me?
Tua, go ahead.
I mean, we have a seer here on Clubhouse, but just for that, Samantha, in terms of two things, we're currently reading from the Akasha records on our Thursday reading study classes. She's missed about 4 of them, so we'll probably only have 2 left. But just so she's aware of that, and also in terms of classes in Northwest London, you know, that's something
yeah, it's on the pipeline.
We've looked to reinstate as well, because obviously that's where I'm based. So just to let the sister know that soon, you know, look out for it. We hope to be
reactivating
classes in North London soon.
Tua, Tabu tap.
And sorry, and Asia is on stage with a question.
Okay. I wanted to say something on what you just said about the classes. It's gone. It'll come back. Go ahead, Asia.
Okay. No worries.
Yeah, that's it. Sorry, it's come back. 1 second, Asia, please. Yeah, if you're on our Telegram group, that's where we keep everyone posted with what's happening in terms of the readings, the classes, etc. So a lot of people are lazy to just download the Telegram app and, you know, make sure that you're on there. Some people don't even read their messages, but we post a lot of information on there so that you can be up to date with what's happening. All right, go ahead, Asia. Brahubat.
My question may not be on the stroll today, but I wanted to know about the mitochondria DNA, right?
Mm-hmm.
Say if the African American male sleeps with an I don't want to be disrespectful, but the Caucasian woman, would that offspring carry that mitochondria DNA if she produces a female child?
Sorry, I didn't hear the first part. If you could just repeat that for me.
The mitochondria DNA, right?
Mm-hmm.
That the women carry.
Yeah.
Say if the African American male,
Yeah.
if he sleeps with a different race,
Yeah.
a woman,
Mm-hmm.
would that woman produces a female child, would that female child carry the mitochondria DNA? Is my question.
Yes, because even though the male also carries it, it's only the female that passes it on to her offspring, as in the daughters. It goes through the daughters. So the female of their race also have the mitochondrial DNA, but they pass it to their female. It's nothing to do with the man. The man doesn't pass it on, even though he has it. It's only the females that pass it on and keep the genetic record.
So it would be only through their, how I want to put this, is kind of like, how I want to say it. So that it will only be a 6 ether.
That's right. Mm-hmm. It will be on their level. Yeah.
Okay, so I overstand it. I got it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So yeah, they pass it on to their offspring too, but they're still 6 ether.
Got it.
Well, they range from 5 to 7 ether, and sometimes that can be confusing for people because when we say it's not Caucasian, it's the Adamites, okay?
Right.
Because the male are 5 ether, the female are 6 ether, but you also have the Dravadu or the Dravidian, who's also a 7 ether. So that's why if you read, a lot of times the master will talk about the 5 and the 6 ether pertaining to the Caucasian or to the Adamites Caucasian, right? But then you also have the Adamites, which are also part of the Dravidians as well. They'll be 7 ether. So if you were to listen to like the reading the atomic, it took the top no the secret of the seed, it explains that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Okay, there's so many questions. I don't even know who's next. Someone here? Oh yeah, Paul. Sorry, the brother. Or was it the sister at the back?
Yeah.
Please use the mic.
No, I was just thinking about, because you know the issue is about religion, yeah, and most of the leaders in the past, like Malcolm X and they're all religious people, yeah. But the only group that I was thinking about that wasn't religious was the Black Panthers. And how comes like their thing crashed? If you understand what I mean, like, because they weren't a religious group of people. There was,
But yeah, just 'cause you're not-
was just about a community group of people.
Just because you're not religious doesn't mean that you don't make mistakes or do things without knowing what you're doing. Do you understand? Like I'm saying, most of the leaders, like you say, their foundation was religion. And that's a weak foundation because it's not really our true way. The religions they were following were really Islam. And that was not our, or the original Islam was our way, but the fake or the distorted version that they were using without knowing wasn't our way, you see. So, but what I'm saying is, it's like people with a religious mindset, they think everything is based on God and the devil. Like, for example, someone might have a business and run the business terribly and their business crashes. They say, oh, the devil made my business go. No, you are a bad business person. You see what I'm saying? Like, sometimes it's just as simple as that. So when you look at the Panthers and look at some of these organizations, they were trying to go against a beast and the devil and someone who their nature is that way. Do you understand? So you're not, it's like, if I make guns and I make the bullets and then you want to come against me, you have to buy the guns and the bullets from me. Does that make sense? So it doesn't make sense. Like, you're going to try, even with Malcolm X, a lot of people like Malcolm X because he was like, by all means necessary, right? But like the master taught, that would have basically got a lot of people unalived because you're going against someone who makes the bullets and the guns. So how are you going to fight that nature? It's like, if you know someone's nature, you have to know how to defeat them.
Yeah.
You don't use the strategy that's not going to work. Yeah. So it's like, anyone can beat the heavyweight champion, right? That might sound like, yeah, right. But if you have the perfect strategy, you will win. Meaning, like, he might be stronger and whatever, but let's say he's not good at stamina, and you know that, then all you have to do is tire him out. And if you tire him out, then you might be able to win. So it's about the strategy. So the master was like, we know, stay out the way of anyone that's trying to attack us because nature has been designed to take them out anyway. All you have to do is just stay out of their way. And till today, people are like watching them destroying each other. And natural nature, which is really our ancestors, are helping to remove the pests of the planet. So you go and try and be like a lot of revolutionists, pick up weapons and go and like protest, and they're waiting for that. They love that. That's why they had the guns and the dogs and, you know, Martin Luther, they're holding hand, walking in peace. Like, come on now, you're going against someone who's got, you know, canines. And so what we're saying is that, yeah, some of these organizations, they mean well, but they don't have the strategy and the plan. That's why the master teacher's been the most successful, because he's bringing everyone back together under one, and he's dealing with it with peace. We don't have to pick up weapons. our minds alone are more powerful than any weapon. So it's knowing how to deal with the situation that you face yourself. Well, you went out, so I'm not sure if you caught your answer, but we know the strategy, the peaceful way, that's the way, and let nature take its course.
Yeah, but everything they've done was agreeable. They've looked after children, looked after women. Maybe they might have had the ammunition and stuff like that, but they never used it in the way like they're going to be shooting
let me
down
cut you
people
because
for no reason.
we're going backwards. We're living now. And I know what you're saying, but I'm saying we can talk about that time period, but we have to deal with now as well, today.
Yeah,
so
it's living the moment.
We have to deal with now. We're still under the same challenges, and it's about organizing. Like a lot of us, unfortunately, we reminisce a lot about the past, the glory days. We built the pyramids, we're the gods and goddesses, all of that. But then you bring it to today, and you're like, where's all our businesses? Where are all our hospitals or healing centers? Where are all our schools? When we start going into that, then you realize that we just got to get together and work and do the building that we need to do. One of the simplest things we got to do is come together and free the master teacher. That in itself, is something very accomplishable, and we don't follow basic instructions. So what I'm saying is, I'm not disputing that they did good things, but we're living in a day and time now where we need to do things that will help us get out of the situations we're in now.
So how are we going to get him out? Through
Love and unity.
meditation?
No, meditation will help.
As a group?
Yeah, it will help, but we're not religious. This is what I'm saying. We're very practical. We have to realize that we have to, they censor things and like YouTube gets pulled down and stuff, so I have to try to use my words carefully. But we have to fight in all angles, like mentally, spiritually, physically, in terms of not pick up weapons, but like organizing, coming together, building, having our own economics and certain things. It's our time, but without organization and knowing what we're doing, we're just running around like headless chickens, and everyone is trying to be heavy in terms of how much information they know. Like you go down the road and you see so many people just information junkies. Even on the internet, everyone's just information until you start to go, all right, where's our big building? Without buildings, thank you. This is where we got to start to put it into action. We've got 1,000 books covering every subject. We teach every week trying to get this information and knowledge out. But when we say to people, go to your local store, go and help, bring your skills and let's work together. Then the next thing is when you get a group of people together, the different clashes come in, the species and the different, that's what I was going to say when we spoke about that question. The master has the antidote, the formula to bring us all together, even with our differences. And that's what he's doing now. Like, whether you're a Muslim, a Jew, a Christian, it's not about, people will be like, put tattoos of all the symbols on their bodies, locks long to the thing, wear the nice robes and meditate all day. That's all great. But at the end of the day, the practicality of things is we just got to come together regardless of our differences. And that's where the challenge is right now. Go ahead, Zuma.
So it's,
after him, because we've got people waiting as well.
So it's regarding our culture, as in Sabians and Nuwapians.
To
what is our coming of age ceremony, and would it be the same on Planet Risk?
Coming of age ceremony?
Yes. So do we have something?
Yeah.
So I read that you can only be an elder at 54, but in terms of being
all of that is within our culture. So again, follow the basics. The brothers, if you're considering yourself a Nuwapian or Sabian, you should be attending Nuwapian men meetings, because when you gather there, you get instructions on certain things that are shared with you. Then you work that way into the brotherhood. And it's the same with the sisters, because when you're saying coming of age, there are rituals and certain things that you go through once you got to that point. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about with our going into too much detail, but the basics are get involved. Now, some people may be too far away from a store or community, but we're saying you can still be a part of a community online. You know, like people are here now, people in Africa and all around the world, but they've attached themselves to our store, and you can do that with any of the other stores around the world. The work is being done. Like, we want to have stores all over. We want to have, you know, sanctuaries all over. We want to have healing centers. Like, we need to do all of this work so that anyone in any part of the planet can go and get healed, go through the process. But it starts with the work we have to build. We have to do it together. And so, yeah, the first thing is there is, even for the younger people, we have something known as the Mudrusu Tashrak, which is the Young Student Association. See, the first thing you have to do with a people is the mind. You have to get the mind right. And that's where the books and the knowledge and all that comes in. Because if you're thinking right, you're going to do the right things. But the mind is a very elusive. Okay. Someone wants to come up on stage. Sakam, can you bring Aliyah up on stage? I saw. Yeah, sorry. I don't know how the time goes so quickly. That's the alarm for chanting at 9, so excuse me for that. But yeah, go ahead, Zamal, if you've still got more to your question.
And so, just in a galactic sense, would the coming of age be the same on like Planet Risk or?
Don't worry about Planet Risk right now. Worry about Nishat. Worry about coming together. This is what I'm saying. Like, I don't mean like not to think about it, but we want to run before we can walk. We have to ground ourselves. Like, trust me, like, the Master's got everything for us, but you have to, yeah, you have to do the basics. Like, for example, do you know the way to Planet Risk?
Exactly?
Yeah.
No.
Exactly. So the Master is the one that knows the way. So if you're not, this is just a simple example. If you're not in with him, how are you going to get there? This is the difference with a lot of the leaders, going back to what my sister was saying at the back. All of these leaders, they taught information, but they don't have the keys to open the gates and to travel interdimensionally and to take us to like Planet Risk. Most people are here because you're in a prison. You've been sentenced there. And you've got to figure out good behavior so you can leave here. And you only have a guide who knows, you have a guide who knows the way. It doesn't matter, like I say, how, it's not about ego, it's not about how much you know, it's not about how much perfumes or oils or religious clothes, how fancy your church is, or how much the congregation, how massive it is. None of that matters. It starts with the truth and your heart. And are you willing to be humble, to be taught who you really are, so you can know? Most people don't know who they are. Most people are still fearing, even though we've gone past that day and time. Most people are still afraid of being who they are. So get past those basics, and then we can do the other stuff. We've got 2 questions at the back, the sister behind you, and then the other.
Been humbly waiting.
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize.
No. I mean,
but go ahead, please.
I didn't raise my hand because I was waiting.
Okay.
So
it's all right.
Now it's my time. Mm-hmm. Greetings, everyone.
Greetings,
everyone. I have come from 25 years in Christendom, and I'm an actress. So when you was talking about caste, I was part of. Well, still am, because I'm going to be on stage at the end of May, where you all are invited and coming. No
okay.
But my question is diverted now to another subject about the certificates, birth certificates, and about being, I mean, I don't know much, but I just know that stock market, we are on stock market. You know, could you elaborate on what all of that is about? And we can get money.
Yeah, I mean,
You know, all of these different
I
things.
literally, I think, when did I do? Yeah, the video that I did recently with the brother Indigo, he asked me that question in our one-to-one, and I kind of went into it. Again, these are all things like you need to, we focusing on the wrong things, okay? That whole system of your birth certificate, it goes into law and the whole kind of commerce world, yeah? It's contracts. And, oh man, I'm trying to see how to... Okay, so we're sovereign.
Let me just say it this way.
Yeah.
Is it a real thing?
It is a real thing.
Okay, and if you can't talk about it now, we can talk about it another time.
It's not, no, when I say it's a real thing, I in the sense of when you understand contract law, yeah, the birth certificate is a contract law. And if you want to learn a lot about this, people like Jordan Maxwell go into it. There are lots of people that talk about it, and a lot of people now talk about it as in the straw man, because basically you're a living entity, you're sovereign, but there's a fictitious character that has been created, which is not the real you, right? This is designed for commerce, for capital, right? That's why the word capital deals with money, which you've rightfully said, and that's why most cities have a capital, yeah? But in terms of Wu Sabat, people like to hear all that kind of stuff like acres and a mule and all the promises that they give you but when you start to go into that studying of that whole system, you get to a point where you realize that it's not really designed for you. I know I'm worldwide broadcasting, so it's not really like, it's not what our focus should be on. There are ways of, because what it is you're a slave. Like, you've made a contract. Go and watch that video I did with Indigo, because I did go into it a lot. But it's really about if you're a slave to the system and you're being traded by way of your output in terms of your energy. That's what we were saying earlier on about the currency. The currency is your energy. And then your labor when you go to work is you putting out energy that provides that currency to keep the system going. You follow? So even in the book of Revelations, if you like read all the things that are going wrong, and then you go to like Revelation, I think it's 18:2 specifically, it says, "Come out of her, my people, so that you will not partake of their iniquities," right? So what I'm saying is that whole system is going down. Like, it's Babylon the Great is falling, and it says, "Come out of her." So we have to realize that even though we want to tap into those things, it's really about us doing our own thing in terms of how we build our communities and work and generate our own wealth, which we can do, right? So people get sidetracked into chasing a dream. Like I said, like, you're never going to get those acres and a mule. But people want to fight. Even the thing about reparations, you know, but people been marching. But I know reparations is not just about money. But it's like you're trying to get an apology, you're trying to get repair in all kind of ways. The helping hand that you're looking for is at the end of your own arm. Like, they don't ever want to give you an apology, much less, and even the word apology is a trick because of the words. You're giving energy to the god Apollo, but people don't realize it. So when you say to someone, "I apologize," you should just say, "I'm sorry," or "nadum" in our language, which is even better. So I'm just saying, like, don't we get distracted and caught up in chasing pipe dreams when we got to just do it ourselves.
Well, that's exactly what I was asking.
Yeah.
Is, you know, is it something that for us to access or leave it alone? And I guess
If people could access it, there would be. So that tells you they're not able to. Many people can't.
I wouldn't
Trust
know.
me,
That's what I'm asking.
we've tried. Some people can, and it is possible, but very few do.
Okay.
But like I said, that goes kind of like outside the scope of Wu Sabat, what we're talking about here, or teaching.
Yeah.
Oh, you got no? Have you finished?
Not quite.
Okay, go ahead.
So moving on to us having our own. There's a ecosystem that's currently being built in Africa, which I would like to connect with you and those. Well, you at another time, not here, because I
Sure.
need to show you things concerning the ecosystem and us working together.
Sure, that's the kind of thing we're talking about. Like we should be doing. Yeah.
And it's a huge
Okay. Well, we
system.
Um,
Thank you.
I just wanted to know about.
Sorry, can you hold the mic to him now? It's for the benefit of the people online.
I just wanted to know about the land, yeah, Tamaray, yeah. I just wanted to know what's happening with that, because that land, didn't you guys?
Sorry,
own
guys,
it?
can we?
Didn't you guys have the deed for that land?
We're not going to discuss the intricacies of
No,
private
I just
things on.
wanted to know. You get me?
But
'Cause
the-
like, could that same deed, you could sell that land again and create many things? Because that land's worth a lot of money.
Do you realise we don't currently have that land anymore? This is what I'm saying. Like you have to be up to date and come into the inner circle of the family to know that. Trust me, all the stuff you're talking about, that was all done in terms of. If we go into the case and study what they did, you know, you had 9 different owners of that land, which they stole the land basically by any means necessary by doing what they do. But that's something that is still there for us to deal with in terms of we have many legal cases and legal things that we have to address and deal with. But again, like I said, if you have skills in that field and know things, then come inside the family and bring that knowledge so that we can utilize it on the inside. Anyone else? Oh, we got a hat? No, we haven't. Anyone else? Questions online?
There is a question online I think you missed. I think it was brown.
Brown sugar?
Yeah, tour.
Where is it? I can't see it.
Let me see. 1 second.
I'm scrolling through. We've covered the Reincarnation. Read. I want to ask a question, but I can't see the icon to raise my hand. Oh, that was Cleopatra.
Pregnant Grove, little after Pregnant Grove out.
Okay, it's brown sugar 72, and it's I read in the book Leviathan 666, page 3. They injected a hypodermic needle with PCP angel dust in the base of the baby's brain that deadened the Bathory gland and made us a forgetful being. So was this the start of them controlling us? Was this done only to the Negroid race?
Okay, yeah. So one of the things that was being done was to try and stop the coming, just like in the Bible when they teach you about the coming of the King of the Jews or the Jesus or the Messiah. They were trying to eliminate any children that were being born that would be that being, that anointed one or the Messiah. And just like the same thing happened with the Herod situation where he was getting rid of the young, boy children that were being born. So these are all different tactics that even till this day you will find out that a lot of Nagaru women have, it was even in the news recently, they have a lot of issues when they give birth through the hospitals, where they target them, and you know what I'm saying, like adding to the whole thing about the, you know, the, it's disturbing, but like the so-called elite that are doing all these things with children and so forth and so forth. So yes, when you read the book, The Small Scroll, the master put out years ago, called Birth Ceremony, you know, the master explains in there how, you know, a lot of abortions and a lot of children that are unalived, you know, that they were quick to give you the option to get rid of the baby or get rid of the child most of the time, because they did have an agenda, and still do, to stop that being. But unfortunately, his coming was nothing like they thought it would be, and that's obviously part of Babylon, where he was. If you go on the website, there's a whole. If you go to click this picture where it says the Black Messiah, and that will take you to the reading, A Savior is Born, right? So when you get to this page, you scroll down and you will see this, unto us a Savior is born. That gives you the whole story about, you know, how he came and how he was, you know, born and everything like that. But yeah, that's just one of the tactics that they were using, and still do. That's why we keep saying it's actually not in our interest to go to a place like the hospitals, like the schools and so forth. Obviously, we're not saying don't go, but if we were together, we'll have our own. Like, you don't even have to. You can have home births. You can have, you know, there are many ways to not have to give birth in the hospital, so that you not put yourself in the risk. But the word hospital just means somewhere where you're being hospitable. They're being hospitable to you. But yeah, so I hope that answers that question. We're actually running out of time, so I'm trying to keep the answers short. Right, who else is next? I saw someone else with their hand up.
We have Aliyah Sky on Clubhouse.
Yeah, that's it. All right, Aliyah, you can unmute yourself.
How are you?
Anuki Kawaz Zamaltat, Uantat.
Sure. Okay, so my question is, let me see. Say, like, for people we know, that have crossed over, that wish to visit us before they continue on their crossing. Does a person being visited have to agree and welcome their presence first in order for them to stop a minute and visit?
Well, they don't have to agree, but the thing is that when they're in your presence, depending on how you react, they may be frightened away, or you may be too frightened to the point where they then leave, because in that state, your energy will affect them, because like we have a natural mechanism within us where when we are frightened, something called adrenaline kicks in, and that gives us a protection where they will then leave, because you know that adrenaline, that kind of like reaction from you.
Would it be that they kind of like specifically go to a person because they are actually, I don't know, perhaps needing that particular person to, I don't know, do or say a particular thing, in the sense of they need something done from that person in order to assist them in their crossing?
Yes. So they will go to different people. It's kind of like either to say goodbye or to calm them down, or to like, just comfort them, or to, as you say, try to give them instructions or information to help them do something. A great movie to watch is Ghost Town. Did you say that? Yeah. Ghost Town, yeah, because Ghost Town shows you how. You know what? The thing about when people cross over, this is why the Master says, like, you should always really be ready. By that meaning that your last thought, because when people cross over, they don't actually know that they're gone. So you might have attachments to things that you're still desires and things that you're still doing on this physical plane. Like, let's say you like smoking or drinking or whatever it is, and you cross over, but you don't realize that you've gone. But then you might go to get a drink. You can't drink it because you no longer have the physical body.
Is it possible, right?
Yeah.
Is it possible for a person to cross over, right? Not know that they have crossed over, right? And then so forth. So somehow they are still here in the physical form. Like say like they know me, right? And I'm not even aware that they have crossed over, but somehow their spirit can appear in somebody else's body that I would assume is them.
Yes.
Is it possible for that to happen?
It is, yeah. So,
In that particular right.
so for example, sometimes people cross over, but then they visit people or see other people somewhere else, and then someone will be like, then when you tell them, they're like, I just saw the person, but not realizing that they personified, maybe like you say, just to say their goodbyes or whatever. Yeah, there have been people who have passed or crossed over and somebody else saw them somewhere else, even though they were gone. But remember that you can travel distances because you're no longer limited. So yeah, like you like when you say you go around to see people, that could be distances, but that's why salty water and salt and things like in that can stop people from being able to like cross over or go certain places. But yes, that's definitely possible.
Okay, so would one of the things pertaining to genuinity be things like, like when they were here on this earth plane, you remember their natural scent and things like that? Because like a lot of us could get confused in the sense of we were thinking that we are seeing them or who it is that we know, but in reality we could just be seeing somebody pretending to be them, and then we are going ahead to communicate with that being. So
Yeah, that's what entities like extraterrestrials, they do that because they vibrate on different frequencies. Remember that you got different timelines as well. So you might be like, you could just be walking down the road, yeah, for example, and enter into a different dimension or shift and you don't even realize it. And then meet somebody, speak to somebody, and then you move back into a different density. So yeah, all those things are possible. That's why the Master explained to us that in your so-called visions or dreams and stuff like that, he can't be imitated. Like the being that he is, he cannot. So if he comes to you in your dreams or meets you, that's him. Whereas other entities are able to, yeah, other entities are able to like come in the form of whatever you want to see in your mind's eye. Like if you're a person that believes in Jesus, they will appear to you like in that image of Jesus that you've got, which could be the blonde hair, blue eye, or whatever, and they can appear to someone else. Like they can cloak themselves. Like a lot of these reptilians can shift shape, and so yeah, they can do all of this and fool people.
The master teacher, the master teacher is not always appearing to us in our dream state. We can literally be like fully awake.
Absolutely, absolutely. You just have to be in that vibration, and yeah, that's why we can do that with our ancestors too. They could be literally in your presence, and you don't know. But if you're able to like shift yourself to that vibration, you can see them. But there's a lot of people's what we call mental reflection and projection as well. So there's a master secret called reflection and projection, because you store images in your subconscious mind, and then you can actually reflect those images back at yourself, and you're seeing something that's actually not there, but you convince yourself it's there. That's why people that always say they've seen some religious figure, like, it's always going to be in the religion that they kind of subscribe to. So Muslims will see.
But then you know what? So then, if one has, like I know many of us have already, say they have received a visit or some visitations from the master teacher, then we should be acknowledging that and kind of adhering to the instructions that was given to her.
Tour. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. To her. Okay. All right. So
And Tatira for Ashok. Right. Okay, we've got two questions. Let the brother, and then.
It's in line with what you were just talking about.
Okay.
Go on then.
See, this is why it's great when people ask a question, because it will spark other people.
I just wanted to know. Yeah.
Please use the mic.
I just wanted to know, when you said that someone can cross over and they may not know, how would they not know? Reason being, because obviously we're in our physical suit now, walking around, blah, blah, blah. So if I was to cross over, I'm no longer in the suit, I'm in my proper form, spiritual soul, like, how would I not detect that I'm no longer here physically?
Okay, the master explained it like this. When you go to sleep, if you didn't wake up, how would you know?
Yeah, it's right, because you don't really know you was asleep until you awake.
Right.
Sometimes, yeah.
So he also then asked us, is this real now, or when you go to sleep, that's the real you? How do you know this is not a dream right now?
Yeah.
You see what I mean? And he gave an example. He said, if there are three people sitting down, and at 12 o'clock, one goes to sleep. At 1 o'clock, the second person goes to sleep. And at 3 o'clock, the next person, so like 1, 2, 3, an hour apart. The person that is asleep, the first one, the other two are watching him asleep, but he doesn't know he's asleep. Yeah? Now, if the bell went off at the same time at 3 o'clock and they all woke up, even though at an hour apart each one was asleep, when they wake up at the same time, they don't realize the difference. They feel like they were all there all the time. You follow? So sleep, it says, the sister to death, meaning that you go to sleep, you don't wake up. The only people that know you're gone are the people that are out still here, innit? They're looking at your body and going, he's gone. Now you, because you're still able to go around for the next 60 to 90 days, you can still experience things. So like, for example, you might come to class and you want to ask a question, but no one's there, like no one can see you, and you're trying to go, give me the mic, but no one's seeing you.
That reminds me of, sorry to cut you, that reminds me of Patrick Swayze, Ghost a bit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They teach you these things in like Ghost Town, Ghost, because that's what happened. Like, I actually personally have had an experience here. But what I mean by that is I was filming at a camera and I was helping film somebody's funeral for their father that had passed away. And I had the camera and I was filming after like the ceremony, and we were like in the near the cemetery and stuff. And I caught somebody on the camera, right? And no one saw the person. That's because now we were in the age of HD TV, or that digital, like the cameras were very good. So when I was editing the footage, I then saw the person, and the people, the sisters that were attending the ceremony, they all walked past the being, like a group of, like, say, imagine like 4 sisters or however many, they're walking that way. Let's say that the being is there. they literally went like this and walked around the being and carried on walking, but they didn't see or know the person was there. But on camera, I've still got it. The person is there, like standing like this, yeah. I don't know if I should share it, but they might not know. But the person's name was Mr. Green that had passed away.
Okay.
And the person was wearing green from head to toe, yeah? And so I had the camera was facing that way, and they went to turn their head around, yeah? As soon as, let's say, so they had a hood on, like they were standing that way, but they had a hood on. But my camera was facing that way. And then when they went to turn around to me, for some reason, as soon as they reached a point where I would have caught their face, I turned the camera away.
Okay.
And it was very weird, but I'm just saying that this is something that I actually filmed myself and saw it when we were editing, and I showed everyone. I'm like, did you not see that when you, the same sisters, did you see that when you walked past? They said no. But they just naturally just did that and passed and carried on walking.
Is that could be because the soul or spirit detected another spirit?
Yeah, they obviously energy was.
They just moved.
They just. It's like in
Around
those
it, I don't know.
movies, some of them they tell you that when they come through you, you sneeze. That's just one of, it may be like old wives' tales, but there are certain things that take place. So the master says, and this is actually a really good question, because one of the things we're supposed to accomplish as part of the things we're supposed to do, I found it the other day because somebody asked a question. Yeah, it's in the Master's Secret. Have I got it with me? But one of them is to be able to communicate with the dead or the deceased. I don't have it. There's a Master's Secret. I think is number 2? We haven't got it. But yeah, the Master tells you in there that's one of the things we're supposed to do. So what we call spirituality or life is, like he said, like it's going to become so obvious, like you're going to be able to see things, and it's like nothing that's common. Yeah, so that's possible, definitely.
And just to finish off, you said that possibly you could pass over and I could come to class or whatever, try and grab the mic and speak, blah, blah, blah.
Or try and drink or
yeah.
smoke or whatever you're used to doing, and your physical body is no longer there to experience that. So you're then frustrated, and that's what we call burning out the desire.
So
because
the soul can't...
It can't move.
You can't pick it up that is no longer here physically. I'm just trying to understand why.
No, you can, because then, like, you're trying to do things and everyone's just passing you, ignoring you, and you're not... Like, imagine you're trying to talk to someone and they can't hear you, but you think... You're wondering why. So obviously after a while, you're going to realize that it's the shell, like no one, and then it's frustrating for you because you're attached and you're still here, because if you weren't attached to the physical realm and the things that are pulling you, you would have moved on or continued. But yeah, so then you have to, that's why the Ghost Town movie, they go to someone who can see them, or who can then help them cross over. So sometimes people are stuck here until they, like for example, if they were on a live, like in a murder or something, they may stay to help you solve the crime. And then when the crime is solved, then they can move on. So they will leave or guide you to little like clues or like, do you know what I mean? Just like in that particular ghost town, so many beings, like when they noticed that, I don't want to spoil the movie, but the person that could see them, they were shocked when he was able to see them. But there's a twist to it, and I don't want to spoil it, so I'm not going to tell you. But so they all started coming to him to help them cross over. The master teacher does this and has explained this. And many people go to him that are stuck in, remember, he's a master of the spiritual world as well as this physical world. So he can go over to the other side and get messages and give it to other people, and people have come to him and he's helped them to cross over by, obviously who he is. So yeah, it's definitely something that, people have experienced. Another way to look at it is like when people are being operated on, and they come out of their body, they call it like out of body experience. they can literally watch their body being operated on, and the doctors are trying to save them and all of that. And if they come back, meaning that the spirit being fuses back with the body, and then they wake up, they relay to the doctors like, I saw everything that you were doing. And people are like, what? Some people even travel and go and do things and come back whilst they're still being operated on or in a coma. And then they will tell the people, yeah, I came and I saw you, I told you this and whatever. But, so these are very real experiences.
I could keep asking questions.
I think the sister had a question. We're coming to the last few minutes, so if you would.
Yeah, do you want to put it over your head?
Thank you.
Are there any other questions online before we got one more in the class? Go ahead, sister.
Back to what the lady was saying online about seeing things that no others can see. Can people with dementia or the elderly tend to see things?
That's right.
That no others can see.
100%.
And I visited a friend's mum who's got dementia now, and she was with her husband, but she was seeing things and saying that they want to speak to you at the door, talking to me, and the husband was saying, "Oh, she's just don't listen to what she's saying." And I'm saying, but I was trying to explain to him that she can see it. And you shouldn't really tell her that she can't see it because, she can see.
But remember that they're not taught these things.
Yeah.
But the master explained to us that when you're at that age, you're getting ready to transition yourself. And those are the warnings, or like when you start to see into the other dimension or see other things, that you should start obviously like...
embracing it.
Yeah, getting ready. But if you haven't prepared and you're not aware of these things, then they will just look at it like, you're just seeing things. You're going senile and so on. That's why, it's important to learn these things before you get to that stage. But yeah, the masters explained to us, like especially when you get to that age of 60 and 70s, in that age bracket, you start to see the other side because you're getting ready to leave or getting ready to go.
And that's the same thing with babies, children,
Right.
toddlers too.
The toddlers is the same but different in the sense that they're still connected to that spiritual world,
Right.
and they can still see.
They haven't released it yet.
Yeah.
So they're still there.
Yeah.
Yeah, because my grandnephew, like, sometimes he's like talking, just like looking, and just talking.
Yeah, the master explained that and said that, they have spirit guides or ancestors in that world that are playing with them and talking to them. So sometimes you see babies just looking in a direction and just laughing and playing, and you're wondering, what are you talking to or what are you looking at? But it's because they're still connected to that spiritual world at that time. It's only till the age of 7 that they start to lose and cut off from it. And if you don't know about these types of teachings as a parent, then you start to suppress them and tell them like, that there's something like wrong with what they're saying. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, just one more thing. What is 5D? Is that dimension? Like,
Yeah.
Okay. And how do we get to that dimension?
All right. The dimensions all exist at the same time, but you get to those dimensions by raising your being. Like we keep explaining that you're more attached to the lower vibrations, the physical realm, especially if you're not versed in the spiritual things in terms of what we teach as in Wu Sabat. So you're connected to them at the same time, but you have to let go of the things that are pushing you down to be able to rise up. So if you think about water, right? If you put something that's light, it's going to float, right? But you put something heavy, it's going to go down, isn't it? It's going to sink. So when you look at you and your being as a person, the things you eat, the things that you constantly worry about, that you're attached to, they're low vibrations and they're high vibrations. So you pull yourself down and keep yourself in the lower vibrations unless you're actually letting go of those negative vibrations and raising yourself to like the spiritual, to the soul, to the mental, to the etheric you, so you can actually spend more time on those realms. And yeah, it's like even when your astral being or astral body, it's more likely to, because one of the things we're supposed to be able to master is the ability to leave our physical body at will and travel and go and visit other dimensions and things and come back. But most people are afraid when that experience is taking place, where they call it, paralysis. Trying to remember the term. What's the term? Yes, yeah, where you're asleep, but you're awake, but your physical is detached. It's never detached completely because you have an etheric cord that is linked. And when, like I was saying before, when your adrenaline kicks in, you pull yourself back. So sometimes when people are leaving, they get scared and then they pull themselves back. And if you, like we're saying, the diets, if you're eating a lot of meats and stuff like that, it won't allow you. That's what I'm talking about. If you think about it, you're sinking as opposed to floating. And so, yeah, diet and the things we do is very important.
Yeah, I just want another thing. Sorry. I was saying to my cousin, because my cousin, like, she sent you guys on a video, yeah? And my consciousness...
Can you use that mic, please?
Yeah. I've always been a conscious person, yeah? From a long time, but I kind of, like, set back. Like, when I embraced consciousness in the beginning, I used to do, like, poetry and all stuff like that. And then, like, when I watched you guys recently, I said to myself, no, I need to get back onto this vibe now. You get me? And I started writing poetry again, and stuff like that. And
is there a question?
Huh?
Do you have a question?
No, I'm just saying about consciousness, innit? I'm just trying to say, like...
No, it's true. When you tap back into
it just brings you to another level. You get me? To the level that you should be on, basically.
That's right.
Yeah,
Back on the path.
I just wanted to share that. That's all.
That's fine. That's okay. All right. Now your creative side comes back out because you start being, who you really are. Right. That's the end of class for today. Want to give gratitude to everyone that has attended on TikTok, on Facebook, YouTube, Clubhouse, Zoom, in class. We got to just keep on sharing, each one teach one. And until next week, same time. Actually, I'm teaching again next week, which was my original scheduled date. So I'll be here next week doing a class on the title, How to Think and Not What to Think. Right, so that's going to be a great class. So until next week, go to your stores, your local stores, join us online, UnitedSabiansWorldwide.com. How can I help? Get involved because everyone has a part to play. All right, so Tawakum, Wuwadu.